priceless moment in the whole history of man. All the people on this earth are truly one.
Standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to, empathy around you. Standing looking back, you heard it all before. Now losing what you didn't know you had. Fearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. When this could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for This could be good enough for Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us. Standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to, empathy around you. Standing looking back, you heard it all before. Now losing what you didn't know you had. Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. This could be
STN Racing proudly presents the Four Corner Racing League, coming to you live from virtual Texas Motor Speedway for the Smalley McSmall race. That's it. That's the title. Here from Texas Motor Speedway. Great to have you with us. Glad to have you along for the ride. Jacob Hintz, Strix Pulsatrix here with you for the call. Zach Johnson, our producer for tonight. Texas. I know we really weren't looking forward to this race when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but here we are, and I think we're just hoping for a decent race here.
Cross your fingers. We have something going on here, I guess. Texas Motor Speedway, not really a very popular track from what I've been hearing, but in any case, today's race is going to be very interesting because we do have, I believe this is the cutoff round before we get to the season finale. There is one spot available, if I can remember correctly, and there's going to be a couple drivers trying to get into that spot above the cutoff.
That's the only redeemable thing about this race, is the fact that it is a cutoff race for the playoffs. Looking at the points, I know it was in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, so 3 spots already locked in. So with the points, Marcus Adams in, Nick Olson in, Kyle Smalley in. The battle is for that 4th and final spot. The drivers that are fighting for it: Jared Wishon, Zach Lindgren, Calvin Allison, Bryson Fitzgerald, Robert Rader. Really, these guys are going to need some help, particularly Rader, in catching Lindgren, or Wishon for that matter. It's going to be Rader and Fitzgerald that are really going to need a win in order to make the next round. But for Calvin Allison, for Zach Lindgren, they just need to outfinish Wishon by a couple of points, and they're looking pretty good for the next round.
Yeah, so despite the track, this is going to be a very interesting race. There are going to be a few drivers trying to push out there, trying to win on strategy, win on outright pace, doing anything they can to try to get into the season finale. But I do believe we have qualifying going on, if not right now, relatively shortly. Are there any drivers out there, Jacob, that you think are just blistering the pack, and some drivers who might be rethinking their tuning setup?
Well, I am surprised, looking at the board, looking at our top 3. Robert Rader, Ferris Shaw, and Roberto Ramirez are your top 3 right now, with inside a minute left in qualifying. Kyle Smalley didn't qualify. That makes sense. Marcus Adams didn't qualify. That also makes sense. So, I understand this a little bit more now than I did when I first looked up at why in the world are Smalley and Adams not up there. That's why they didn't qualify. But again, they are already locked in to the next round with Nick Olson. Nick Olson qualifying P4. Wishon, the driver that is on the cut line, qualifies P8. Zach Lindgren qualified P5, so he'll start in front of Wishon for this thing. Calvin Allison, where is he? There he is, P6. He'll start from P6. Bryson Fitzgerald is not here. No, Bryson Fitzgerald's not here. And then you got Robert Rader, who, again, is starting on pole. So the cars will spawn along pit road, and we'll go through the starting grid for tonight's race. Robert Rader starts on pole with Ferris Shaw to the outside. Roberto Ramirez and Nick Olson line up 3rd and 4th. Zach Lindgren and Calvin Allison make up row 3, with J.R. Houston, Jared Wishon in row 4, Joe Francis and Gavin Hibbs rounding out the top 10.
And then, of course, in the top 20, we have Jordan Weaver on the left and Kevin Orlando Jr. on the right. Then behind them, Casey Heschel and Chris Webb. For 15th and 16th, Jaron Hazen and Michael Dorsey. 17th and 18th, we've got on the inside Marcus Adams, and on the outside Kyle Smalley. And then rounding out your top 20, Michael A. Anthony on the inside, Chris Worrell on the number 6 on the outside.
And I think there are like 2 cars left. Keith Smalley, Anthony Colantuono. Rounding out our grid of 22 here tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. You may see down in the bottom right corner that coming soon graphic that's just above the STN graphic. So basically, STN and FTF are kind of merging. Basically, STN is becoming FTF.GG. Not a lot's going to change. They'll just be covering a lot more FTF races, but I don't think this is going anywhere. I don't think. We'll sort scheduling and things out as we roll along, but a lot of broadcasts are just going to stay right here. It's just going to be a different name. So instead of looking for STN Racing, I know the Twitch has already changed to FTF.GG or whatever the heck it is now. It's going to be a new home for sim racing come 2022. That's when the official rebrand's going to happen, but we're starting to get the ball rolling now. Lots to look forward to coming up.
Absolutely, as we see the cars rolling off the pit road and onto the course, getting a lot of space for the time being while they get their tires warmed up just a little bit for the race. Heading into this, do you feel as though drivers are going to be focusing a lot on tire wear or trying to save, or are most of them going to be going like all out from, start to finish?
Well, I apologize for not listening to your question here, but I didn't, because I heard Marcus Adams come over the radio and say, well, it got cleared now, but he said that he had a 40-second pit penalty for speeding coming off pit road trying to get lined up. So they're going to clear it for him so he doesn't have to serve it, but would have had a ton of championship implications, but hey, not the best start, even though he's already locked in, so what does it really matter? But here's Rader and Shaw as the pace car comes on to pit road. 140 laps up on the board. Glad you're watching. Let's have some fun. Raiders on the gas. Green flag from Texas.
A huge gap formed by Rader. Behind him, cars are starting to spread out, heading into turn number 1 and 2. The 48, or I believe that's the 84? 48, sorry.
Olsen got a little loose. Car twitched for a moment. They bring it up off the corner. Everybody is keeping it green. Olsen now stuck in the high line. Calvin Allison behind. Roberto Ramirez downstairs.
The drivers are coming to complete their first lap as a 24 behind the 41, right on the bumper, and now going down on the inside. That was a bit of a risky move. You don't want to be pushing too hard around the front stretch, because as those cars are cornering, you really don't want to upset the car. You're going to cause a big wreck.
So far, so good as they complete lap 1.5. They take it down into turns 3 and 4. Calvin Allison with Zach Lindgren peeking to the inside. That's right behind the battle between Ramirez and Olsen. 3 out of those 4 drivers with the red banners. That means that they're in the playoffs. Nick Olsen locked in to the round of 4 in these final 3 races. Lindgren on the outside looking in. Allison pretty much needs a win if he wants to make it, but it's all Roberto Ramirez pulling away by 3 car lengths over Ferris Shaw. Then you got to go almost half a second back to Nick Olsen in 3rd.
Yeah, we're seeing these drivers now get single file, get it sorted out, get settled down, and get ready for 140 laps of racing. We do see that 48 just climbing on top of the driver in front there, or the 84 rather, climbing on top of Rader in the back, and he gets a little bit loose on the exit of turn 2.
They're going to keep it rolling for now, but Olsen's starting to reel in Ferris Shaw little by little. There you see that 84 didn't make the playoffs, and there's the 24 who's locked in to that next round as the field gets single file pretty much all the way around the racetrack. 4 laps are complete, and Roberto Ramirez doing what he has to do. He's in the 8th spot in the playoffs, trying to lift himself into the final spot in the playoffs, that P4 spot to make the championship 4.
There is a lot of space between these cars here. Little packs here and there, but there is definitely a lot of space, a lot of ground to make up as that car goes loose and in the grass on the front stretch, saves it.
Casey Heschel on the 49.
That was almost catastrophe. Good job trying to save that car, but coming out of the exit of turn 4, that car was gone.
Yeah, that was not pretty. Here comes Olsen to the inside for second. Underneath Ferris Shaw. He's got the room. Shaw storming back on the outside down the front straightaway. Hangs on to second at start-finish. We'll see what he can do here into turn number 1. This track, not really multi-groove, especially since they repaved it. Olsen going to try his best downstairs. Not quite clear off 2.
Still going about 2 wide down the back stretch. The 24 and the 84 fighting it out. The 84 on the outside, 24 on the inside. Gonna have to watch on turn 4. Seems like a lot of cars are having issues on the exit of 4 and 2, but the 84 once again having a run, and they are not clear yet, still too wide.
Side by side, still for second is Raiders. That's Ramirez. Slides it up a little bit. Lindgren going to peek underneath. He wants to try and take that P4 spot. Lindgren trying to do everything he can to make it to the next round. The only problem is that if Raider wins this thing, it's not going to matter what that 85 of Zach Lindgren does. He's racing the 96 of Jared Wishon, who is just a little ways back. He's in P8. Lindgren, I think, is 1 point out based off of where they're running right now. But it's not going to matter if Raider wins this thing, because Raider would bump both Wishon and Lindgren out.
Just taking a look at the lap times right now from the stat sheet. I do believe we have a few cars in the 29s, most of them in the 30s. Nick Olsen seems to be the fastest car out on track with the best lap of 29.948. Actually, as I look down the list, in the 20th position, Anthony Colantuono with a 29.914. So a majority of the field is in the low 30s, but some drivers in here are relatively quick.
Just trying to do everything they can right now. They don't want to burn their tires off too much early on in the run. Since this race is 140 laps, they do have 5 sets in the pits. So they had the opportunity to change tires if there are continued amount of cautions, but you don't want to burn through them early on, because then you'll have none left at the end of this deal.
Absolutely, and another concern many of these drivers may be having as well is fuel. What kind of situation are they going to get into? Are they going to see a lot of cautions where that fuel strategy is going to start playing in, or are they going to be going green flag the entire run? We'll have to see. The field is relatively spread out and not getting quite as dicey. We've seen a few moments, near misses here as we see a car going wide off of turn 2, but when it comes down to it, it's a little too early to tell what the strategy is going to be, but definitely you want to be saving your tires for a late run, just in case we need to be making green flag stops here.
Still not done battling for second between Olsen and Ferris Shaw. Shaw brings it up right to the edge of the groove. Olsen way down low. They'll be side by side off the corner. Lindgren waiting in the wings right behind. As was Calvin Allison. I don't know why you couldn't hear me there, but you can hear me now. Hello.
Little technical difficulties, but we got you back, buddy. The 84 and the 24 are still very bumper to bumper here. The 84 is really wide off the corner. I don't think he got the entry that he wanted, and that's a car ahead of him. He's probably losing 2 positions by the end of the backstretch. No, he manages to slot in, but 1 position lost by the 84, going very wide into turn 1 and 2.
Yes, that'll slide him back to P4. That moves Lindgren up into P3 behind Nick Olsen. You've got Calvin Allison there in the 5th spot. At this moment, Lindgren would be in as long as somebody else wins this race. If Rader's able to hang on and win this deal, or Allison comes from behind to win it, well, everything Lindgren does is all for naught.
You can see a single file line going down the backstretch, and that's pretty much the main reason Texas is such an unpopular track. It's not a whole lot of exciting racing going on, but that said, like I said before, we have seen some very close calls. Some people getting stuck out, or caught out rather, on the exits of 2 and 4, and some drivers making mistakes here and there. So, as wide as this track is, as steep as the banking is here, there are still possibilities for making mistakes. As we see a big bunch up, a big checkup behind the 84. I believe that was that's another position that the 84 is going to be losing. Still side by side, but he's now battling for 5th.
J.R. Houston took it to the grass, and I thought he was going to take it next to the hospital. And you can't really drive that well in the grass on any service, but he's going to hang on to the race car, put it in P6 now behind Farrow Shaw, with Allison in that 4th spot. Nice little run for J.R., who got knocked out of the playoffs as Jared Wishon washed it up off the inside line. Here comes Kyle Smalley. He started in the back. He's roaring up the outside line. He's going to get by the 96 on the high side.
And that 84 is just dropping like a rock. I'm not really sure what's going on in that car. Is just losing a ridiculous amount of speed on the rest of the pack. It's possible he might be saving tire, but losing this many positions, you have to wonder if saving that much tire is really going to be, if you're really going to be gathering that much speed towards the later half of the run. So it's entirely possible that either he's just saving really, really hard on tires and fuel, or he's just dropping like a rock. Just not enough pace in that 84, as he's now being freight trained by a number of cars behind him.
Wonder if he just burned off his stuff a little too much, and that's why he's falling back. Great on the short run speed is one thing, but you got to be good on the long run speed, especially at these 1.5 miles, because there's the potential that you may not see a lot of yellows. So, and if you're not good on the long runs, then you're in for a long, long day, and that's what Farrah Shaw is looking at here from Texas. 19 laps are complete. Robert Rader continues to lead the way. Then it's Nick Olson, Zach Lindgren, Calvin Allison, J.R. Houston, the top 5. Roberto Ramirez, Kyle Smalley, Farrah Shaw, Wishon, Jordan Weaver, the top 10. First battle looks like it's between Weaver and Wishon here for P number 9 as they come off the corner. Joe Francis also there. He's on the outside line, the white and black 50.
Yeah, we've been seeing quite a lot of two-wide action actually here. Drivers trying to get as much pace off the corner as they can. The 84 dipping a tire into the grass, coming out of turn 4 and into the front straightaway, trying to cut the track as much as possible, trying to make up all the ground that he's lost, but he's still dropping like a rock. The pack ahead, though, it seems to be leaving this pack behind as they battle each other. Robert Rader is ahead of his nearest opponent by 0.4 seconds. That's 0.4 of a second, and that gap seems to be increasing as time goes on. Last couple laps, it was about 0.38, 0.39. Now it's about 0.46.
Yeah, Olson's starting to fall back a little bit from the leader, and you got to think that Rader, this is go or go home time to make the championship 4, and he's doing everything that he needs to so far just to try and bring it home in one piece and give himself a good shot to make the next round. Remember, he has to win, otherwise his championship run for this season is over.
Yeah, Robert Rader putting it down where it matters, but this is still very early on in the race. Only lap 23 to be completed out of the exit of turn 4. You have to wonder, is he burning things up too soon, though? Because he's just lost about half a tenth to the car behind. That's the number 24 of Nick Olson, and we see the 84 in the pits. There might be something wrong with the car.
That's interesting.
It is a bit early to be pitting here at Texas. He might either be changing something on the car, maybe trying to get some of that tape taken off, or alternatively, he might be trying to think of the long game. It's entirely possible that he's just trying to work his fuel strategy and tire strategy into a way that might benefit him towards the end of the race. We'll have to see if that pays off, as we see that gap is now closing hard between the first and second place cars. Robert Rader now only 0.2 seconds ahead of Olsen behind.
4 tires and fuel for Ferris Shaw, so he'll get back out there. 14.3 second pit stop, and he will go at least 1 lap down here. But Robert Rader continues to lead the way, just a tick faster than Nick Olsen that last time by. 25 laps complete.
Robert Rader and Nick Olsen, the position 1 and 2, with Nick Olsen trying to chase down Rader in the front and doing a relatively good job, still dropping that gap down corner after corner. It seems like Nick Olsen might have saved his tires a lot more than Robert did. That gap is kind of a push and pull, but it's on the trend downwards as Robert heads into turn 3 on lap 27.
Field comes back to the start-finish line. Rader just about a tenth faster, taking a little bit away, looking behind him. Casey Heschel is way up out of the groove. He's going to lose a spot to Marcus Adams. But we've got a conga line here from Roberto Ramirez on back. He kind of seems to be bunching these guys up.
Heading into turn 3, we do see a bit of a pack. We got some side-by-side action here. Heading into the front stretch. It looks like we got a car, the black and blue. The number 5 looking on the outside of the 41, trying to make a pass work on the outside. We've been seeing a lot of drivers trying to make it work. Getting a little squirrely on the exit, just a tiny little bit, but he makes it work, and he's bringing the car behind him with them. I believe that's the 95.
Chris Webb parked the car, done for the night. He'll finish P22 in the last spot. And Rader now getting passed by everybody. Here comes Francis on the outside. Jordan Weaver going to go to the outside. Jaron Hazen going to go down low and follow the 41 into the corner.
And it looks like Nick Olsen up at the front is going on attack mode. We saw him entering turn number 1 on the outside, trying to get a run, perhaps trying to get a cutback. Get a low exit on turn 4 or turn 2 to try and get maximum speed. Rader and Olsen are making a bit of an interesting fight here. The gap is now 0.1 between the both cars. Nick Olsen is within striking distance, and there's 3 other cars behind Olsen that are looking to benefit from any mistakes that they see the front cars make.
He just needs a mistake as we ride on board J.R. Houston, P5. Oh, look out. That's Lindgren getting sideways off the corner, and there goes J.R. right by him. That's going to hurt Lindgren. Wishon just 2 spots behind him now.
That was a bit of a scary moment there to watch on board. The car just seemed to get a little bit unhappy with regards to the exit of turn 4. We've seen a few cars having a bit of a struggle coming out of that corner when you're going down low. But good job to try and save that car, as we see Robert Rader gaining just a couple tenths. But once again, Nick Olsen able to shrink it back up to about 0.15, 0.16. It seems like Nick Olsen is better through the corners, getting a lot of speed through the corners, but on the exits, Robert seems to be doing really good on getting that exit speed down. As we see it on the inside,
Yeah, Allison got a great run off the corner, held that momentum down the back straightaway, and here he comes. Can't quite get there off turn 4. J.R. Houston has joined the battle. That's going to allow Ramirez to scoot away. Not Ramirez, Raider. I get those two mixed up all the damn time. You would think by the end of the season I would have it fixed between Robert Raider and Roberto Ramirez, but it just hasn't happened. Still side by side. JR right behind. Allison down low. Olsen up high. Olsen takes second spot back.
Nick Olsen has to be frustrated by that attack. Granted, the car behind had a lot of pace off of the corner. Really didn't want to put the brakes on there because they'd be checking up the pack behind him. But Nick Olsen has lost a lot of ground on Robert Raider, with Raider now increasing the gap to 0.46, about the position that it was before Nick Olsen started using his tires and started gaining. And now all that position, all that proximity that he'd been gaining has now been lost, and he's got to work it back up again.
Down the front straightaway, here comes Kyle Smalley. Go figure, to the inside of Lundgren. This is for P5. He's got it.
The number 5 in P5, looking for another position on the exit of turn 2. Not quite going to make it. The car ahead, the number 20, just getting enough exit speed to keep him behind. But that number 5 looks like it has a lot of pace. We're going to have to keep an eye on him. Maybe he's been saving tires towards the back, kind of, sitting under the blanket, kind of just being like, hey, I'm not here. You don't see me. And now all of a sudden saving all the tire, trying to gather up all of that momentum, use up all the tire to try and gain some positions here.
Gavin Hibbs in the 95 parked the car, done for the night, so we have 20 cars left, 19 of them on the lead lap. Michael Dorsey just inside 13 seconds behind the race leader. Robert Raider has led every single lap, 37 laps complete this time. Kyle Smalley through the grass into turn number 1. Looks like he's going to take P number 4, and he will.
An incredible move there. Number 5 on the inside of the 20. Trying to look to make up that position, but the 20's got enough speed to close the door. Raider and Olsen up ahead in 1 and 2. Olsen is still trying to catch the number 1 of Robert Raider, but still not able to do it. That said, though, he's brought the gap back down to about 0.19, 0.2, which is about where it was before it started getting fighty with, I believe, the car just behind him. I believe that's the 28. But the 28 is also very close to Nick Olsen. It's very possible that given the run, he might start attacking again, and Nick Olsen will once again lose proximity to that lead car.
Calvin Allison sitting in P3, trying to do the best he can right now. And we saw him attack Nick Olsen earlier on, but it just couldn't get there. Olsen was able to hold that high side and just make it work. Since then, Allison's kind of backed off, I think trying to cool the tires off a little bit. You've got Kyle Smalley sitting in P5. He got a little wide there through 3 and 4. Lindgren just not close enough, though, to attack him.
The 24 and the 28 now bumper to bumper heading off of turn number 2, heading into turn number 3 off of the backstretch. The 28 does seem to have pace on the 24 just a little bit. You can see on the exit the 28 getting a big run, but having to check up with the 24 in the way. We might see him dive down for trying to take another position.
And there goes Smalley up the hill big time. JR goes up as well. Here comes Lindgren. Meanwhile, he got Allison. Has room behind him. He's going to go after Olsen here.
Once again, trying to fight for position. We got Nick Olsen and the 28 side by side. And it looks like the 28 has a bit of a run coming out of turn 4 as the the 20 and I believe the 23 are now side by side, with the 84 also going side by side but getting cleared on the bottom end. And now we have the 28 in second position, making the pass on Nick Olson and ready to throw down and close that proximity, close that gap between second and first, with Robert Rader currently half a second ahead. That's about the biggest gap we've seen between first and second so far.
Ferris Shaw right there as well. He's got Wishon trying to get by him. Wishon takes it through the grass. Remember, Ferris Shaw just pitted a little while ago, so he's on fresher tires than everybody else. That's why he's blowing by the leaders, trying to get his lap back. He is only one down. So now Calvin Allison in the hunt for the lead. If either Allison or Rader win this race, they're locked into the next round.
The 28 of Allison is stalking his prey, while Nick Olson behind is starting to drop down. Might have used all of his tires. The number 5, as I mentioned before, might have been saving his tires and started using them a few laps ago. Might have taken a bit of a defensive kind of thing, trying to save tires once again, and now he's back on the prowl with Nick Olson on his front bumper. This is going to get really interesting towards the end of the line. No cautions so far, so we're going to have to see how soon those green flag pit stops start to happen, when these cars are starting to go down for fuel and tires. As we see a car just barely getting stopped, locking up the brakes in the entry of the pits. Chris Worrell in the number 6.
Yeah, so Worrell's in. He'll take his service, and you got to wonder if we're getting closer now to the point where we're going to see green flag pit stops. We are a little past a quarter of the way through this race, 140 laps in total. So lap 70's halfway. So we're about 10 or so laps past the quarter mark. As here comes Ferris Shaw, this lap car, storming up the outside. Nick Olson blows by him, but still a lap down, has 2 more cars to pass before he can get back on the lead lap and then maybe hope for a caution that'll cycle him around.
Yeah, the 84 seeming to find the pace he did not have, especially since he's got fresher tires. He took some fuel and tires way early. We did notice that car dropping pace a lot, but now he's found his groove, trying to work it past the second and first position cars as we work down the backstretch.
Almost had some contact there in the back. J.R. Houston has fallen off a cliff. He's back in P8. Joe Francis to the outside. Jaron Hazen right behind as they come up off the corner. Michael A. Anthony also on pit road now, getting his service. His first stop of the day. Roberto Ramirez also just pitted a lap ago. Casey Heschel now on pit road. Everybody else staying out. As I say that, Kevin Orlando Jr. decides to come in.
We're seeing some of those green flag stops start rolling in. The leaders have not yet decided to go into the pits.
Here comes Allison. That's Calvin Allison to pit road. I think he made speed. Everybody else going to stay out for another lap. So that's the first leader to bring it to pit road. Gotta wonder here how long it'll take everybody else. Probably not long.
Yeah, we'll probably see them in the next 3 or 4 laps starting to pour in, unless there are some cars on track that have been saving a lot of tire. Robert Rader looks to be staying out for...
Here comes the leader. Rader's in. Olson is in. Houston is in. Everybody else staying out for the most part. So Kyle Smalley takes the lead for now. He'll have to come on to pit road soon.
And of course, we saw the 84 getting mixed up with the lead cars. They're trying to unlap himself, and now he's done just that as the lead pack goes into the pits. Ferris Shaw able to unlap himself under green flag racing. That is fantastic driving on his part, as we see the new leader, the number 5 of Kyle Smalley, crossing the line for lap 52.
Well, you got to keep in mind, though, yeah, you know, Ferris Shaw unlapping himself is great, But when things cycle around, his tires are going to be almost 30 laps older than Kyle Smalley's whenever he decides to come onto pit road. So who's really on the better strategy here? Is it the leaders for pitting at the same time? Or is it Ferris Shaw for getting his lap back, but now he's got Greek ruins his tires once everybody else pits?
That is absolutely fair. We'll have to see how that plays out as the number 5 continues to drive. I don't think he's gone down to the pits just yet. Started 18th and currently first. A fantastic drive from the back end as we go through, continue to go through green flag pit stops. Does not seem like Kyle Smalley is going down, but we do see another car going down. 2 more cars heading into the pits to get some new tires and fuel. That's the 23 and the 85.
Yeah, Lindgren and Weaver coming to pit road. Smalley, Wishon, Francis all stay out, as well as Keith Smalley. Everybody else is either on pit road now or has already pitted once.
The number 5.
And here comes
out.
Wishon comes in.
Number 5 is still out, still using those old tires, and you can really tell the pace has dropped off a lot on that car there. All the cars currently on the track here in the lead pack, you can definitely tell the speed in the corners is not there.
Here comes Smalley. Francis going to stay out for another lap, but Kyle Smalley brings it to pit road. Remember, he's already locked in. So whatever he does, it doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Gotta imagine Francis is going to be in this lap.
Yeah, that has to be true, because here's the thing. Kyle Smalley, as he was going into the pits, got passed back by, I believe that was the 28 of Calvin Allison, losing so much pace. It might have been a bad idea to stay out so long on old tires. You can see the change in momentum between the cars on newer tires and older tires as the 50 now comes in.
And Smalley peels away, so that will put, well, Keith Smalley in the lead. Keith Smalley has not pitted yet. If we can find him on the racetrack, the 2, he's going to stay out for another lap. There he is entering turn 1. Ferris Shaw is going to come out in second. Then it'll be Robert Rader cycling out on this strategy here, who will be second technically, but once Shaw pits, he'll retake the lead. He's got 0.3 of a second over Nick Olson and Calvin Allison. Roberto Ramirez, Chris Worrell will eventually be the top 5. Keith Smalley going to stay out for another lap. Just hoping for a caution as we're closing in on the halfway point now. 57 laps complete. Keith Smalley will bring it around through 3 and 4. He's going to stay out another lap, but we're going to step aside here from Texas Motor Speedway. Keith Smalley is your leader, but he still has to pit. And Ferris Shaw just pitted, I think. No, he just got passed by everybody. Robert Rader sits second right now. Nick Olson breathing down his throat. Keith Smalley the leader till he pits. We'll step aside. We're back after this here from Texas.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to Texas Motor Speedway, the Four Corners Racing League. Race number 33 on the season. The Smalley McSmall race from Texas. Keith Smalley is still your race leader. We thought he would pit by the time we got to break. He's still out there. And finally, he's bringing it to pit road. He's going to spin it. No, he hangs on. Keith Smalley will bring it to pit road, hangs on to the race car, and off comes Robert Rader off the corner. He will retake the lead, and Nick Olson is about the same distance from earlier on in this race. 3/10 back.
Yeah, we've been seeing very consistently the 53 up front, the 24 in the bridesmaid position in second, and behind the 28. We've been seeing this pretty much all race. And Nick Olson has a choice to make. Does he save tires and do what he did before and start attacking towards the end of the run, or should he continue to attack now? Should he be doing it now and hope for a caution to get up into the lead? We'll have to see as they come out of turn number 2.
We're 6 laps away from halfway. We have yet to see a caution. And now that the pit stops are complete, everybody is way strung out now. Before it was just kind of a conga line of cars. Now it's just some over here, some over there.
Here is your field summary after 64 laps. We've had 4 leaders and 4 lead changes. And that's about it, but no cautions, no caution laps, of course, as a result of not having any cautions. But we've had only 4 lead changes and only 4 different leaders. So 4 different people having a different taste of the front of the pack. And here we now see that Rader is ahead back where he was, with Nick Olson now climbing onto the back bumper.
Yeah, and Robert Rader led most of those laps. The only that he wasn't leading was when he brought it to pit road. Kyle Smalley led a few. Keith Smalley led a few. Joe Francis led 1 or 2. So those are the 4 drivers that have led today. But nobody has passed Robert Rader on the racetrack for that first spot. It's all been handing the baton off to come to pit road.
We now see the 28 get a big run down the front stretch. Once again, getting on Nick Olson's bumper. We're going to see it once again. The same story happen again. The 28 and the 24 have fought for position for that second spot quite a few times. We'll have to see if the 28 is going to cooperate, stay behind, and keep that gap small to hope to try and fight as Rader's tires fall off. Or are we going to see the 28 once again fight the 24 for second position, dropping that proximity off of the lead car?
These leaders have already fallen off about a second from where they were at on the fresh tires. They're about 20 laps through these tires now. Robert Rader still about a 1/10 a lap quicker than Olson and Allison. Kyle Smalley faster than all 3 of them, but the problem is he's 3 seconds back.
Meanwhile, back towards the middle pack, we see a little bit of fighting going on here. We see the 40 and I believe the 96 going side by side into turn number 1, heading out of turn number 2. It looks like the 96 is going to have the position, but a bit slow off the corner. Doesn't matter, still closes the door. And the 85 is going to sneak in between the 96 and the 40, gathering a position. The 40 dropping back too.
Lindgren washes it up a little bit, but Wishon going to hold on for now. Lindgren and then Hazen. Remember, Lindgren and Wishon are battling for that cutoff spot as long as Robert Rader or Calvin Allison don't win. Right now, Jared Wishon in front of Lindgren. That's the opposite of what Lindgren needs.
Heading out of turn number 4, clicking over lap 71. We are beyond halfway on this race. Robert Rader is about 0.26 ahead of Nick Olsen, still maintaining that gap, trying to run away. And you can see up at the top of your screen, you can see the live gap timer going down to 0.17 on the entry to turn number 3, but on the exit of turn number 4 on the front stretch, Rader gathering it back up to 0.2. It's a lot of push and pull here, just based on the 24 going in hard and the 53 going out hard.
16 drivers on the lead lap, 4 of them a lap down. Keith Smollett, Michael Dorsey, Anthony Colantuono, and Marcus Adams. He had a 54-second pit stop. Man, oh man.
That is
I don't know if Marcus, I don't know if he hit the wall or what. Remember, he's already locked into the playoffs. But he is way out of the picture here. He's going to need a lot of cautions to get back on the lead lap.
The driving up in the lead pack has been very consistent all day. 28 looking a little bit low, trying to get some clean air on that nose, perhaps trying to remind Nick Olsen, hey, I'm here, I'm right behind you. If you don't pick up the pace, I'll fight you again. And heading into turn number 1, it looks like he might have that in mind, trying to gather some speed out of turn number 2.
Yeah, battle for the lead continues to brew up, but it kind of bubbles and then it settles. Just somebody makes a mistake and then that's it. They kind of accordion together and then they spread out. And Robert Rader has just been really in a land of his own since the drop of the green flag. He got out in front early and he's been able to hold on to it ever since. Even though Olsen's applied the pressure a time or two, Rader's been able to hold on.
Yeah, you can see that live timer up at the top of your screen, pushing and pulling on the entrance and exit of corners, and that gives you an idea of how each driver is kind of driving this racetrack. You can see the number pushing further down as Robert slows down more than Nick Olsen into the entries of the corners, and then you see that number expand as Robert gets a run out of the corners and Nick Olsen maybe gets a poor exit. And you can get a cleaner idea of that through that overhead shot, a really good overhead shot there. But ultimately, that gap is pushing and pulling a lot, and it has to make you think, like, how is that going to affect your tires? How is that going to affect your pit strategy heading towards the end of the race?
Ooh, and here comes the 96 down low. That's Wishon with the 23 of Jordan Weaver up high. That's for P6. You got J.R. Houston right in front of him. So really, that's all for P5 on back.
The number 23 on that outside line, on the outside of 85. The 85 getting a run on the inside and clearing him. The 40 now side by side with the 23, trying to make a position up. Ooh, the 85 going up high, getting in the nose of the 28, but No incident so far, but that got pretty close as that 85 started drifting up wide.
Just trying to hang on for dear life right now. You've got Houston 5th, Wishon 6th, Lindgren 7th, Jordan Weaver 8th, Hazen and Francis battling for 9th and 10th as Chris Worrell has brought it to pit road. But really, these guys probably have another 10-20 laps before they need to come on to pit road again. As here comes the 96 of Wishon down low for P5.
This is a tremendous fight for the 5th position in the race. We're seeing a pack of about 5 or 6 cars. We've got 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th all up for grabs in this little pack. This is the tightest pack currently on the field as well. So with this many cars in this close a distance at this kind of track, it's entirely possible we're going to be seeing somebody make a mistake as these tires wear down. The 23 on the back end of the 85 trying to push it past the 20, and the 85 is now clear. The 23 now side by side with the 20.
Man, and just JR, he's so slow up on that outside line just because that's not where he wants to be. And as a result, he's holding up Joe Francis, and he's going to lose a ton more time as here comes the 23 and the 40 down low.
Yeah, that 20 going way high on turn 1 and 2, probably trying to scrub as much speed as possible, let these cars behind him so he can get that preferred inside line. The 23, though, in 7th position. Behind him, the number 50 in the 8th position. Everyone's single file, but the pack is still tight. And we have a lot of racing left to go. Lap 83 of 140.
Yeah, we're just past the halfway point. Ferris Shaw bringing it to pit road now, which makes sense for him based off of his goofy strategy. He'll be close to making it to the end. It'll be just inside 60 laps for him. Everybody else will probably see on pit road within the next 10 laps or so. The tires will be killed by the end of the run, by the end of the race, but at least they'll be able to make it from there.
Yeah, Ferris Shaw taking an interesting pit strategy. We saw him at the beginning of the race after about 15-20 laps, dropping pace like a rock, just dropping through the order, and then taking a very early pit stop. Not really sure if that's a result of the setup or him just burning his tires too quickly. But we'll have to see if that strategy pays off as we continue to see this battle for 5th. Head down the back stretch, heading into turn number 3. We see the 50 going on the inside of 23. Not quite enough speed on the entry to get alongside.
Oh boy, Jordan Weaver all over Lindgren, almost turned him for some championship implications. He's going to get to the inside here to turn 1. Lindgren going to apply the squeeze. Weaver going to wash it at the racetrack. Francis has nowhere to go. He has to slide up the hill, and Weaver's going to lose maybe 2 spots for the price of 1 off the corner.
That was incredibly intense there. Lindgren getting very low on the 23 and the 23, probably experiencing some aero wash of some sort, getting that close to the rear, or that close to the side of Lindgren, and causing him to go up the track, understeering, and now he's fallen back in this fight for 5th. Coming out of turn number 2, the speed upon which these cars have been able to maintain at this level with these tires now starting to wear down, pretty incredible if you ask me.
Well, and Jordan Weaver just got loose again right in front of J.R. Houston there off 2. That could have been big, but now Hazen to the back bumper of Francis, who's close to the back bumper of Lindgren. As they bring it down the front straightaway to turn 1, here comes Francis to the inside. That's for P6. Let's see if the 50 can hold it on the bottom off the corner. Looks like he can, but the 85 gets the better run up top.
The 85 now getting a little bit from behind with the 40. Trying to help that air come off Lindgren's car a little bit better as they draft together on the backstretch, but now they're single file once again. Lindgren currently in 6th, and ahead of him, I do believe that is the 86 or 90, the 96 car.
Here comes Hazen back down low of Francis. This is for P7. Francis up high, that black and pink 40 car down low. Has the run off the corner. Francis will beat him at the line. Now Weaver going to go with the 50 to turn 1 and see how that bottom line will work. Just it doesn't seem like the bottom is where you want to be, especially in 1 and 2. You want to be in the middle.
Yeah, it seems like getting down towards the bottom, towards the apron through turns 1 and 2, just scrubs off way too much speed. You can see the car kind of gathering up a lot of pace through the corner, but as soon as you get out, you're losing all of that exit speed, and you're losing all of what you worked for throughout the corner. Going down that low, it also uses up a lot of your tire. You're turning a lot harder on the inside than you are on the outside. So that's also going to be affecting your pit strategy as we come to 50 to go.
So this is it, 50 laps to go. They're going to have to make one more pit stop. Question is, when do you do it? Would you rather have fresh tires now or have fresher tires toward the end of this thing? You're probably going to have to pit within the next 20 laps.
And to give you a brief update on P1 to P3, I believe a couple laps ago we saw Robert Rader run a 31.75 in the lead. A 31.75 lap time is not bad considering the life of these tires. Behind him was a 31.726, just 300ths faster, less than 300ths faster. But behind the both of them, Calvin A. Allison with a 31.670. So it seems like Allison has the most pace out of all these cars. Makes sense because he's the 3rd car in the draft on the straightaways, but also Calvin has been very quick and has just been waiting behind the 24 and the 24 and the 51 pretty much all race. We'll have to see if he's been saving tires because he does have the pace right now.
Had Michael A. Anthony on pit road to make what I believe will be his last stop of the race. But all the leaders staying out still. The oldest tires out there, 47 laps old, belonging to Roberto Ramirez. The freshest tires out there of those that have not pitted. Joe Francis, 37 laps. Plus you've got Keith Smalley, who is 29 lap old tires right now. As here comes Weaver to the inside of Joe Francis down the front straightaway. This is for P7.
Jordan Weaver going down low into turn 1 and 2. Then the number 50 of Joe Francis on the outside getting the run on the exit. It's a lot of push and pull here. The 23 is going to be using up a lot of his tires going that low on the inside. The 50 still going to be good on tires, or at least going to be a little easier on the tires, as we see the car behind black and pink 40 taking a look at that middle, thinking, am I going to go 3 wide? And thinking better of it. Letting him...
Oh, they're going to do it here off the corner. Nick Olson's coming to pit road this time. Just heard him say it over the radio. Nick Olson and the leader, Ramirez, also coming in. Dang it. Rader coming in.
Raider.
Oh, and Rader, oh! He does spin and then he hits Olson on pit road. Are you kidding me? And Keith Smalley comes to pit road. He crashes it. He hits the wall. And that might have been the race right there.
That is such a lot of drama happening on this round of pit stops. We first saw Rader and Nick Olson heading into the entry. Rader trying to get it woed up, loses control of the car, and slightly taps the door of Nick Olson. And then we saw the number 5 there of Kyle Smalley just off screen.
There we go.
Control on the entry.
Olson beats him off pit road. Nick Olson, potentially the race leader. because Robert Rader slid it onto pit road. If that's the way Rader loses this race, oh, what a heartbreak. But he's going to try and get him back right here. Looks to the inside. Olsen's going to block him down to the apron. Remember, these guys are on cold tires. These things aren't going to grip all that well as they bring it through 3 and 4. Rader right on the back bumper of the 24. These two are a lap down. Here comes Rader on the high side. He's going to take it the long way around. Going to squeeze Olsen down low. Let's see what he can do here off the corner. They've got Kyle Smalley right behind him. He's going to go 3 wide with these guys. And Robert Rader is clear. He passes Olsen when they get back on the racetrack.
Robert Rader once again taking control, but he's coming across lap traffic. The lead pack now coming across lap traffic. Nick Olsen having to take evasive action, trying to get around the 20.
And that's the 23 there, Jordan Weaver clogging up the bottom. Kyle Smalley, who has not pitted yet. Actually, yes, he has. So, hold on. Kyle Smalley just took the lead. Hold up.
Kyle Smalley navigating the traffic.
He pitted at the same...
magnificently.
He pitted a lap before these guys, and Kyle Smalley is going to take the lead. Are you kidding me? Oh, and there goes Olsen up the hill. He got moved time by Rader.
And we have a wreck down in pit road as well. We saw somebody losing control as they were locking up the brakes. This is getting nuts.
Damage, pit road. That's Worrell. What the heck did he do? His car's smoking in the box. I think he was just screwing around in his pit box and overread the motor. All right. Here's Rader, though. This is for the potential lead, or the eventual lead, once things cycle around. Kyle Smalley looking for win number 800 on the season. Robert Rader looking to make the championship 4 if he can win this race.
I have not seen impressive driving like that in a very long time. The number 5 of Kyle Smalley navigating traffic, and through turn 3 and 4, a couple laps back, while they were navigating traffic, we saw Kyle Smalley blocking Rader down low, making him basically drive straight into lap traffic. Rader had to slow down, and Kyle Smalley was able to inherit the lead that way, but Rader, once again, able to make up all that pace and get down on the inside as they head into turn number 1 and 2, side by side.
Rader's going to clear him, but he's going to slide up. That might allow Smalley to cross him over off the corner. Plus, you got to remember that Kyle Smalley at this point probably just going to save his tires now to get back at Rader later on. As we're inside 40 laps to go, Hazen, Francis, and Heschel are the only 3 that need to pit. Everybody else has done so. At least that are contending for the win. Rader, the proverbial leader here. Whew. It's the first time we've seen him get passed on the racetrack, and he took it right back.
Rader has been absolutely fantastic here at Texas, but Kyle Smalley, one of the most intelligent moves that we've seen all day while navigating traffic, and inherited the lead just through basically navigating a traffic jam as all the other lap cars were on old tires. A fantastic mind behind the wheel of the number 5 car showing itself here today. But Robert Rader able to outmatch that wit with just raw pace.
And Calvin Allison stayed out a lot. He stayed out like 5 more laps, and he has lost a ton of time. He is 7 seconds behind Rader and Smalley. We'd like to remind you that this league is sponsored by Circle B Diecast. Use the code FCRL2021 on all orders, and you'll get free shipping on all orders over $20. As here comes Kyle Smalley to the inside. Rader going to take the middle. That's where he's been at his best, and he'll maintain the lead off 2. Again, that's code FCRL2021 at CircleBDiecast.com. You get free shipping on all orders over $20. 35 to go.
With 35 to go, we see Rader, Kyle Smalley, and Nick Olsen in a position he's not been familiar with all throughout today. He's mostly been in second position behind Rader, but now he sees the back end of another car. Kyle Smalley, as Rader gets a little bit far up the track and closes the door. He lost a lot of pace through the middle of turn 1 and 2. The 5 car slowly inching his way to the inside, trying to peek in on turn 2, but Rader closes the door.
Man, Rader's going to have to block for his life here. Just because if he doesn't, I'm not sure that he's going to be able to win this race. He's just going to have to block for his life and keep Kyle Smalley behind. Casey Heschel still has yet to pit. He's going to have to do that soon. So right now, this is technically the battle for second. You've also got Nick Olsen there. What could he do to try and spoil this party? We haven't really seen him make any big moves for the lead yet, but this is his best chance.
Yeah, we've seen him get very close to Robert Rader, but continued to stay behind, trying to save those tires. And also, he didn't have a whole lot of chance to attack Robert Rader on track, specifically because he was being attacked by, I believe it was the number 28 of Calvin A. Allison, who for a period of time was in the front pack. As we see, I believe that's Casey Heschel now on pit road, so Robert Rader will now inherit the lead.
Olsen all over the back bumper of Kyle Smalley. This is now for second. Olsen backs off.
That was close. I don't think I've seen cars frequently get quite that close without wrecking, but then again, I'm mostly a carburetor cup kind of person here. But Nick Olsen definitely putting the pressure on, reminding Kyle Smalley that he's here, still back there, and he's more than willing to attack for second, even if that first place position doesn't seem possible. 31 laps to go this time by.
Robert Rader trying to do everything he can. Rader has a win on the season. That win coming all the way back. Oh, at least I think I have this right. Yes, Rader won the season opener at Daytona. He has not won since. He's trying to win here tonight, lock himself in to the championship four in these final three races at Kansas, Martinsville, and then at Phoenix to wrap it up. He's got 29 and a half laps to stay in the first spot, and he's going to take away that fourth spot from both Zach Lindgren and from Jared Wishon. Wishon would have it right now. Wishon sits P5. Lindgren sits in P8, I think. Jordan Weaver is having a dance party, and his internet is blinking in and out and in and out. He must have Xfinity. Meanwhile, Smalley goes a little wide, and he's trying to do everything he can to stick with Rader.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see Smalley push a little harder in that number 5 car, trying to apply the pressure to Rader, who has been up front pretty much all day today. We've seen maybe 6 or 7 lap lead changes, but only 2 or 3 of those have been actual on-track changes. This race has been green flag the entire way. We've seen some incidents on track, some cars getting a little bit squirrely. We've seen some cars wrecking on pit road, but nothing to cause a yellow flag. So this has been a very quick race, and Robert Rader benefiting from just the raw pace. But Kyle Smalley still right behind, and Nick Olsen right behind him. Both of these drivers ready to capitalize on any mistakes that Rader makes.
Just got to be perfect for 27 more laps. And the fight for the championship still alive for that 53. That's all he's got to do. Meanwhile, Chris Worrell parked the car. He's been sitting on pit road for the last 50 minutes. He's done. We'll see him later. We'll see him next week at Kansas. He was in the playoffs early but got knocked out. As we hit 26 to go here from Texas.
Whoa, hang on. We're seeing some cars reach the lead pack that came out of nowhere. Allison and Wishon are now just advancing on the lead pack. Look at the pace they have compared to the top 3. Allison is now on the back bumper and now going on the inside of Nick Olsen as they head into turn number 3.
Got to remember, Calvin Allison is on fresher tires. He waited later than everybody else. Same with Wishon. He pitted at the same time Allison did. So they are on about 4-lap fresher tires as we hit 25 laps to go. This thing may not be done yet.
This is incredible. They came literally out of nowhere. For the longest period of time, we have been watching the top 3 pack just all alone on the camera, on the track
Here he
camera.
comes.
And out of nowhere, these two cars are now freight training the field. They're taking on Kyle Smalley and currently giving more pressure to Robert Rader than he's probably seen all race.
Well, we've got lappers here now. The 49, Casey Heschel's a lap down. The 31 of Marcus Adams is a lap down. That 28, though, is on the outside, going for the lead. Rader down low. Allison with that preferred line. Rader going to hold on off the corner with lap cars on his rear bumper. And now he can't get down low because Marcus Adams is there.
I gotta know where those two
Here
cars...
he comes. Inside.
Ooh, touching the apron.
Allison down low. Rader up high. Rader's going to hang on and shut the door on exit. Wow.
This got extremely exciting, extremely quickly. I have no idea where Allison and Wishon came from, but they have a ridiculous amount of pace.
Look at Marcus Adams. He's up in the bleachers, and he's going to pass both of them. And Rader's going to hang on to the lead barely, but Allison's still there up top.
Oh my God, what is happening right now? So many different changes in pace between these cars. Allison now side by side with Rader. Wishon right behind, pushing him into the corner.
Allison up high. We'll see how deep that 53 of Rader drives it in. He's down right on the white line. He's going to clear him off the corner. No, he's not. He got close. Here comes Allison roaring back on the high side into turn 3.
This battle is far from over. We've still got 22 to go. Both drivers, ooh, a little bit squirrely from Rader. I think he is now back in third. This is the furthest back I think we've seen Robert Rader on track, at least with regards to being passed. And now we see Kyle Smalley way high up the track. Not sure if he got a lot of understeer. He's trying to find some extra pace, but he's lost a lot of position off of the other cars. But Allison and Wishon now forming a gap on Rader, who has been out front all day.
That's not Wishon. That's Casey Heschel, the lap down car there in the gray and
my
pink.
bad.
Yeah. I made the same mistake. Don't worry. I thought it was Wishon too. And I was like, oh, wait, the 49? Oh, yeah, that's right. Heschel's car does look like that. So Rader still in second. The only problem is he's lost 0.4 of a second on the race leader with 20 laps to go. And Calvin Allison, remember, he needs to win in order to make the next round in this championship 4. And he's won a lot. He's won 7 times, the most out of anybody else, and he's still on the outside looking in if he doesn't win this race, looking for win number 8 on the season and potentially the ticket to the championship 4.
Yeah, you know, it really goes to show consistency is what matters here. You can win as many races as you want, but if you're DNFing or having really poor finishes at other races or just straight up not showing up, you're still going to be at risk of not making the playoffs, and that's just kind of how it goes here. But Calvin Allison making a fantastic strategy call, pitting just a little bit later, and now reaping the benefits as he is in first place as the 53 seems to go up high, trying to look for pace anywhere he can find it.
Calvin Allison, the gap 0.5 of a second. The battle now for second, Rader and Smalley. I think Rader is still shell-shocked at the fact that he just got blown by with Calvin Allison on those fresher tires.
Yeah, that really came out of nowhere. And like I said before, for the longest time, it was just Rader, Smalley, and Olsen on camera at all parts of the track. You didn't even see anybody else in the vicinity. And almost out of nowhere, Calvin Allison, with the help of the 49, Casey Heschel, just freight training.
.6 of a second now the gap, as they've kind of balanced off here the lap times. Here's a battle. This is Lindgren and Wishon. This is the cutoff if Allison or Rader can't win the race to turn 1. You got Michael Dorsey there in the 29. Nope, wrong battle. Here they are. I was looking at the wrong cars. Too much pink and black on these race cars. I don't know who's who.
Well, the one benefit of that is that we are now fully aware of breast cancer. Probably sporting that black and pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. $15 to go. There's still a lot that can happen here at Texas Motor Speedway, and we saw a lot happen over the past 20 laps. As we take a look at the lead car, your leader, current leader right now, is of course Calvin A. Allison, forming a huge gap on Raider, probably the biggest gap between position 1 and 2 that we've seen all day, beyond just the green flag pits. And it doesn't look like that gap is growing any smaller.
No, and Kyle Smalley has dropped off 0.2 a lap to Raider as well. It's 0.8 of a second, the gap there. So this race is going to limp into the final 10 laps, I guess. Let's take a look at what's coming up here on STN, FTF.DGG, whatever the hell you want to call it. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the schedule. Tomorrow, the Highline Racing League HighPoint.com Premier Series coming to you from... That graphic's not right. From round 6, question mark Motor Speedway, wherever the wheel decides us to be at. 10 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll have the call for that. On Thursday, Core round 3 from Iowa with the ARCA cars. That is a 9 o'clock start over on the Core YouTube channel. And then we are back with this just for the championship finale. Where is the penultimate race? That's at Auto Club, right? I will fork over the money so we can call that race if that works in everybody's schedule. I want to call a damn race at Auto Club. So we will talk after the race. We may be back in 2 weeks for Auto Club. If not, 2 weeks for Auto Club. If not, we'll see you in 3 weeks for the championship race. But yeah, that's what's coming up here on SDN as we hit 11 laps to go as the leader brings us around off turn 4 to take 10 to go.
Once again, we're seeing another pack behind the lead pack starting to form. Drivers trying to muscle their way into making any position that they can. This is the closest battle we have on track, I believe, with the first to third cars now being so spread out thanks to Calvin Allison just saving the tires so ridiculously well and then attacking right where he needs it. We see 20 and I believe the 28 side by side. 23, my bad.
Lap cars closing in here on Allison. It's Colin Tuono and Michael A. Anthony. But the gap between himself and Raider is more than a second at this point, so I don't think it's going to matter too much as we're coming to 8 to go.
And to give you an idea on pace as well, Calvin A. Allison currently with a last lap time of 31.525. Robert Raider is behind him with a 31.568. Still relatively close, but after that is Kyle Smalley in third, 31.678. And then Nick Olson, who has been in second basically all day, giving Robert Raider the most challenge for his position until Calvin A. Allison came out of nowhere. 32.045. So there is a huge gap of speed and pace just based on the top 4, top 5.
7 to go. Here from Texas. Looks like we're going to make it flag to flag without a caution here. Calvin A. Allison coming from behind to most likely win this race. It's tough for Robert Raider, who needed to win to get in, but Calvin Allison was in the same boat. And looks like he's going to be able to do it. And it won't matter between the Wishon Lindgren business, because if Calvin Allison wins, he bumps them out either way and takes that 4th spot.
coming down the backstretch. Calvin A. Allison probably just being told by a spotter, probably just being told, hey, calm down, focus up, keep your car straight, keep it off the wall, and just bring her home. 5 laps to go, I believe, this time around. And you gotta wonder what Raider is thinking, like what he could have done differently in order to get that first position, as we see another battle in the mid-pack. I believe this is for 5th.
Yeah, this is coming down the back straightaway. That's Hazen. Well, it starts with the battle for 5th, and it goes all the way back to 10th. It's like a 5-car train back here as Allison hits 4 to go.
Currently single file in this pack from 5th to 10th. Every driver trying to find their spot on track to try and make up as many positions as they can. As we see, I think that was the number 23 getting a little bit wide and possibly tasting the wall just a little bit. And the number 50 goes wide on the number 20 and now takes up a position. That's 10th to 9th for the 50 car.
Down the back straightaway, coming to 2 laps to go for Calvin Allison. 7 wins on the season coming into tonight. And he was still a long ways away out of the playoff window. He needed a win in order to make the next round of the playoffs, make the championship 4, and these final 3 races have a shot at the playoffs as he gets passed by the lap car here of Casey Heschel, who pretty much followed him the whole way up through. And Calvin Allison, I think he knows now at this point the gap is 1.6 seconds. As he comes through 3 and 4, he will see the white flag. 1 more lap to go here from Texas in the Smalley McSmall race. Calvin Allison is 1.5 miles to go before he makes the next round of the playoffs.
Calvin A. Allison can just duct tape his rear view mirror now. He does not have to look into them. You can only see Robert Raider coming down into that rear view mirror as Calvin A. Allison is halfway down the backstretch.
Into 3 and 4, Calvin Allison. He's going to do it. Win and you're in. He's going to fight for a championship. Calvin Allison wins the Smalley McSmall race at Texas.
What a fantastic finish from Robert Raider as we see a bunch of drivers now coming across the finish line. But what a race. That last green flag pit stop created a huge shakeup as we see Raider getting on the back bumper of Calvin Allison, probably congratulating him for a good race. But what a race it was. Allison picking the best strategy of the day and taking the win, no questions asked.
Let's run through our results. Here from Texas, Calvin Allison, your winner. Robert Raider, so close for him. He finishes 2nd. Kyle Smalley in 3rd. Nick Olson 4th. Jared Wishaw in 5th. Zach Lindgren in 6th. Jordan Weaver 7th. Jared Hazen in 8th. Joe Francis 9th. J.R. Houston rounding out the top 10.
And in 11th, Roberto Ramirez, about 27 seconds back. And then in 12th, we had Casey Heschel. And in 13th, the number 8 of Michael A. Anthony. Behind him, 14th, Marcus Adams. Ferris Shaw in the 84, finishing 15th. All these cars going a lap down. Michael Dorsey as well, going 2 laps down. Kevin Orlando Jr. in the 27, finishing 18th. Anthony Colantuono at one point had the fastest lap on track, finishing 19th, 3 laps back. And we had 3 DNFs. Chris Worrell, Gavin Hibbs, and Chris Webb all taking the trailer home early today.
All right, let's talk to our top 3. Let's start with the race winner. And the final man to make the big show for the next 3 weeks, Calvin Allison. You needed to win in order to make the next round and fight for a championship for the next 3 weeks. It was looking all right for you, running P3 most of the day. That strategy there at the end, though, I wasn't sure it was going to work until you came flying like you were shot out of a cannon with about 30 to go. Take us through that strategy there to launch you up to the front.
Yeah, it helps when you have a car engineer for a real NASCAR team in your team speak, because I was going to pit when Kyle pitted, but JR told me I needed to stay out to lap 100. And then luckily KC come out at the right time after pitting. So I can thank them two the most for this win tonight.
Without the teammate there in KC pushing you, do you think you would have been able to get away from Robert as fast? Do you think Robert may have had another shot, or do you think the tires were just too dominant for you once you got the clean air?
I really don't know. I mean, when I pitted, I was running 32 flats, and I know they come out and was running low 31s. But then after I pitted, they'd already fell off 4/10, and I caught them pretty quickly. But, I mean, with the clean air, I'd say Robert would have had an easy victory if KC hadn't have come out at the right time.
Well, nonetheless, you made the Final Four. Kansas Auto Club Phoenix, the last 3 races. You've won 8 times this season. What do you think your chances are of winning the championship?
I honestly don't know. I think this is the first 1.5 mile track I've won at in years. And then we start the last round with 1.5 miles. And I doubt I'll get as lucky next Monday as I did this Monday. Pretty confident about Phoenix and Auto Club, but Kansas will be the kicker for me.
Well, congratulations on the race win, on making the championship 4, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Auto Club. I'm saying it now. We're broadcasting Auto Club. It's not official yet, but it's happening. Don't worry. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Jacob, and thanks, Bolts Designs, for always sponsoring me, and Kyle for sponsoring this race, as much as I hate to admit it.
Calvin Allison, race winner tonight from Texas. Let's talk to the man. Yeah, Robert Rader. I got my finishing order mixed up. Robert, so close there at the end. You dominated this race. Just got out. I'm going to butcher this. Strategized there at the end. So close for you to make this championship 4. You needed to win. You were within 2 seconds. Take us through your night.
Well, I mean, first of all, congrats to Calvin. I really think he deserved the 4th spot. He's been one of the fastest guys here all year. So if you're going to lose it to somebody, I'm glad it was him. But man, I thought we had it made, and I saw Allison was catching us, and man, if I could have just held him off for 2 or 3 more laps, the tires would have equalized out, I think, and we would have won the race. Because once you get behind a guy in dirty air, there's just nothing you can do. And then he had his teammate a lap down on fresh tires pushing him too, so we didn't stand a chance at that point. I told myself if I could get to him, I was going to wreck KC, but never had the chance. So here we are.
Without the strategy, or without the assistance that Allison had with the help from KC, do you think you would have been able to duke it out there for the win?
Probably not, honestly. It's so hard to do anything behind another guy. I feel like we would have been able to stick with him. We would have been right with him, I think, all the way to the end, and maybe we catch lap traffic or something would have gave us a shot, but even then it would have been really hard to pass him. He was super fast all night. He had fresher tires. It was going to be a chore no matter what.
The next 3 weeks, what's the goal for Robert Rader now that you're out of the playoffs?
Go out and win races is the plan. We'll try and make that happen. There's some fun tracks coming up, so we'll give it a go. Try not to get in the way of these guys in the Final Four too much, but we'll still give it to them.
Well, best of luck to you in the next couple of weeks. We'll see you at Auto Club in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys, for the broadcast. Appreciate you.
Robert Rader finishing second here tonight from Texas. And finally, Kyle Smalley, the man who sponsored the Smalley McSmall race here from Texas Motor Speedway. Man, you were fast on that last run. I didn't even realize that you were on the same lap as Raider and Olsen until I looked up at the scoring monitor. I thought you were still out on the racetrack on old tires. How in the world did you pull that off? I know you're fast everywhere we go, but wow.
Yeah, I started in the back just since I'm already locked into the championship, so I started in the back just to have some fun. And worked my way up through the field, and then that last pit stop that you're talking about, I pit 1 lap earlier than everyone else, and I gained like 2 seconds or 3 seconds on that, just pit stop alone, that 1 lap. And then that lap 98 going to 99, that move I did going from the top or the bottom to the top and to pass those 3 lap cars was crazy. Like, I don't know how we didn't wreck. But yeah, I mean, that strategy didn't work obviously because Calvin pit a few laps later and he had fresher tires and everyone. But congrats to the final 4 for going to the finale the next 3 weeks, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Looking ahead, you're obviously locked into this Final 4, the next 3 races. You're fast everywhere. Chances on winning the championship, what do you think?
I mean, Kansas and Auto Club, I'm fairly good at. I'm confident there. But Calvin's going to be tough to beat at Phoenix. So if I can get first and second the first 2 races and then have some sort of cushion going into Phoenix against Calvin, I'll be a little confident. But if he wins Kansas or Auto Club, I really need to practice way more than usual at Phoenix and see if I can compete with them.
Well, best of luck throughout this championship 4. We will see you for the last 2 races, so Auto Club in 2 weeks, and then for the finale at Phoenix. Best of luck at Kansas next week, and we'll see you on the other side in California.
Appreciate it, guys.
Kyle Smalley, your race, 3rd place finisher, almost said race winner. He's won a lot, apparently not as much as Calvin Allison. I didn't realize that Allison has won 8 times. Kyle Smalley has won 9 times. 36 races on a season, you do the math. Final thoughts here, Strix.
Man, I gotta say, going into this race, I'd heard that Texas is kind of notorious for being very boring when it comes to racing, but this was a bit of an exception. Granted, for the first half of the race, it was mostly just spread out racing, kind of the same old Texas stuff, but then towards the back half of the race, we saw a lot of different pit strategies come out and a lot of cars that were faster than others on track with fresher tires, and we saw ultimately the best strategy come out with Calvin Allison. I've been messing up his name all day. I feel so bad. But Calvin Allison coming out with the best strategy and coming out with the win, So it really goes to show Texas is capable of making some really interesting racing.
It's been a lot of fun tonight here from Texas, even though we didn't have any cautions. These things happen. It's all right. And I have a feeling in 2 weeks when we go to Auto Club, that's definitely going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, Phoenix in 3 weeks when we get to crown a champion. That's it here from Texas Motor Speedway in the Four Corner Racing League. Again, use promo code FCRL2021 on CircleB.diecast.com. You get free shipping on all orders over $20. Again, FCRL2021. Free shipping on all orders over $20 at CircleB.diecast.com. For our producer, Zach Johnson and Strix Paul Strix alongside me, I'm Jacob Hitz. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Highline Racing League. Till then, good night.